Shots in interviews, the quiet moments in LA, and the way a few words can shake a whole friend group set the tone. At the same time, the heart of the hour is family. We see a young man who does not feel seen, a dad who thinks he is doing his best, and the talk today is about trust, truth, and a heavy question that no one wants to hear in a group of friends: do you think our husbands are cheating? This moment did not come out of nowhere. It started with a small plan to fix things: more dinners, more lunches, more time together. But the deeper issue was not time. It was honesty. One person felt like she was always open about her life, her family, her grandkids, what she was dealing with day to day. But when she looked around and asked for the same level of truth from the others, she felt like the door closed. She felt like she was the topic, but they were never the topic. And that is where the pain started. When you are in a friend group, balance is everything. If one person always gives and the other always keeps quiet, you feel it. It builds up in small ways. It shows up when you share your home life and no one else shares theirs. It shows up when you bring up something hard and you get short answers back. You start to wonder what is real. You start to wonder if people only ask you questions so they can talk about your life later, but they will not give you the same energy when you ask about them. That is not a small thing. It is a crack in trust. The word that keeps coming up is transparent. Simple word, but it carries weight. To be transparent means to be open, to show yourself, to not hide behind a wall. But here is the catch: people have different ideas of what that means. One person may feel that being transparent is talking about all the big and small parts of life, even the parts that hurt. Another may feel that being transparent is sharing what they have lived, not what they have not. When those ideas clash, it can sound like someone is ducking the truth, even if they are not. The Martell interview comes up, and with it, a spark. One woman says she did not watch the whole thing. Another says she did not watch any of it. Now the question becomes, is that a sign of hiding, or is it just a choice? Is not watching the interview a way to step out of the drama, or is it a way to avoid the topic that everyone feels in the air? In real life, both can be true. In a tense room, it is easy for a simple choice to look like a tactic. Then there is a sharp line: you are not being transparent because you are not talking about what they feel you should talk about. That line changes the mood. It moves the talk from "share with me" to "explain yourself." The tone shifts from warm to cold. When that happens, people put their guard up. They stop hearing the words and start hearing the blame. And once blame is in the room, the heart shuts down. That is when the line drops: do you think our husbands are cheating and we do not want to talk about it? That sentence is heavy. It is not just a question. It is a mirror held up to fear. It is a wound. It is the kind of question that can break a room in half. Even if the person who said it did not mean it as an attack, it lands like a blow. Everyone hears the same thing: are you accusing us of hiding the worst kind of secret? Right away there is a pushback: I did not say your husbands are cheating. That is not for me to say. The person who asked the question explains that she was trying to get clarity because she felt brushed off. She even points out that someone else noticed she was brushed off. This is where the talk gets sticky. Hurt meets hurt. One person feels dismissed. The other feels attacked. Both sides feel unseen. No one wins in that moment. The feelings are real on both sides. That I am the middle of this. One woman makes a clear stand. She says she is very open about her life. If she had dealt with infidelity with her husband and they were past it, she would have shared it. She says she would tell the story to help other people. She would explain how she healed, and what it took to move forward. But she will not talk about things she has not lived just to please people who want her to speak on them. That is a line she will not cross. That is not a dodge. That is a boundary. This is a key point. There is a big difference between being secretive and keeping a boundary. You can be open and still choose not to speak on something that is not part of your life. You can be honest and still keep your private space safe. If someone asks you to talk about a pain you have not lived through, it is okay to say no. It is not a sign of guilt. It is a sign of self-respect. It is also a sign of respect for the truth, but boundaries are easy to misunderstand, especially when the group feels tense. If one person is always talking and another is always quiet, the quiet can feel like shame or denial. If one person is always asked hard questions, and another is not, the group can start to feel lopsided. That is how small moments turn into big fights. It is not just the words. It is the pattern, the weight, the tone, the timing. Let us talk about the idea of being blown off. When someone gathers the courage to ask something real, and the answer is short or cold, it stings. It can feel like your care does not matter. It can feel like you are outside the circle. In a group of friends, that feeling can take root fast. Each time it happens, the roots go deeper. Then, the next time you speak harder, louder, sharper. You stop asking to understand and start asking to defend yourself. That is when a simple talk turns into a fight. There is also the issue of the interview. Interviews bring heat. They bring rumors. They bring half-truths and sharp edits that stir up talk. When the name Martel gets brought up, the stakes go up. People start to brace for impact. They remember old pain. They start to wonder who is going to bring that pain back into the room. So when someone says they did not watch, it can sound like a way to avoid picking a side. When someone says they watched all of it, it can sound like a plan to bring the interview into the group. Both things can be true at the same time. Let us step back and look at the heart of the issue, infidelity. Few things hurt more. It cuts deep. It breaks trust. It shakes your sense of self. It changes your home. When you speak on it, you are not just telling a story. You are opening a wound. If someone has healed from it, they may be willing to share to help others. But even then, the way they share, when they share, and with whom they share, that belongs to them. It does not belong to the group. On the other side, sometimes the group is not coming from a bad place. Sometimes the questions come from fear. They worry about their friend. They want to make sure their friend is okay. They want to make sure there are no secrets that will explode later. But even care can turn into pressure if it is not handled with love. If the tone is sharp, if the words are loaded, if the timing is off, care can feel like control. And control never builds trust. Think about how the line about cheating entered the room. It came as a question, but it held the weight of a claim. Once it was said, no one could unhear it. That is the power of words. You can say, "I did not accuse you," and that can be true. But the words still land. They still move hearts. They still change the energy. This is why timing is key. This is why tone is key. This is why, in a tight group, you have to handle hard topics like glass. The woman who says she is transparent makes another key point. She says she talks about what she has lived. She will not speak on something she has not faced. This tells us something big about her values. She cares about truth. She cares about not faking it for the cameras or the group. She wants to help, but not at the cost of her own truth. That is strength. That is also a dare to the others. Speak from your life, not from the rumor mill. Now, let us look at the person who says she feels like people talk about her things all the time. That is a heavy load. If you are always the subject, it can feel like you are carrying the show. It can feel like your pain is the group's content. It can feel unfair. When you then ask a fair question about someone else's life and get a short reply, it can send you over the edge. You think, so we can talk about my family, my grandkids, my home, but not yours? That is why her voice shakes. That is why her words come fast. She is tired of being the only one on the hot seat. Let us be honest. Friend groups have roles. There is the fixer, the peacemaker, the truth teller, the one who holds it all in, the one who explodes. These roles can get stuck. People forget to check if the role still fits. So you get stuck being the one who shares everything, even when it hurts. And others get stuck being the ones who share nothing, even when they should. The only way out is to name it. To say, I need us all to be open, not just me. Here is another layer. When people bring up infidelity, there is a risk of harm that goes beyond the group. Husbands are involved. Kids are involved. Family names are involved. Even if the statement is not a claim, the hint of it can start a fire. That is why some people shut it down fast. They are not scared. They are careful. They are trying to protect their home. We do not have to like it. But we should try to understand it. When someone says, "Tell me what I am supposed to talk about," that is not sarcasm. That is a plea. It is a way of saying, be clear with me. If you need me to address something, name it. Do not dance around it. Do not poke me with small jabs. Say what you mean. Clear talk is kinder than sharp hints. It gives people a fair chance to answer with care. Let us talk about listening. True listening is not waiting for your turn to speak. It is not lining up your next point while the other person is still talking. It is slowing down. It is hearing the feeling under the words. In that room, you can feel a lot of fast replies. You can feel the rush to defend, to correct, to set the record straight. I get it. When a hard topic comes up, the body wants to protect itself. But that is the moment to breathe. That is the moment to say, I hear you. Those 3 words can change a room. The line, "She blew me off," is important. Feeling brushed off is a small cut that can turn into a deep wound. If someone feels brushed off often, they begin to see it everywhere. Then even a normal answer sounds cold. The only way to fix that is to name it, and to change the pattern. You can say, I did not mean to brush you off. I care about what you said. Can we slow down and talk about it now? That restores dignity. That rebuilds trust. Now, think about the woman who says she would have shared if she had walked through infidelity. There is courage in that. It takes courage to talk about pain in public. It takes strength to say, here is how I got past it. But there is also wisdom in her boundary. She knows she cannot teach what she has not lived. If she tried, it would ring false. People can feel when a story is not true to life. She refuses to do that. Good. That is respect for the audience and for herself.